All right, so we talk about cops a lot on this channel, and one of the things that I frequently tell you guys is that police simply do not exist to protect your communities, okay? They don't exist to protect your safety or anything like that. What they actually exist and have historically existed to protect is private property and private capital, okay? That is a reality of the history of U.S. policing. They have historically been involved in many union-busting efforts, brutalizing many unionized workers or workers attempting to unionize on behalf of private capital. This is no secret. They exist to protect the capitalist class. That is their sole purpose. And if you had any doubt in your mind that what I'm saying is accurate, well, I have a story here that basically gives us a clean, direct view into exactly how far the police are willing to go to represent some of these private companies. So, revealed, pipeline company Enbridge paid Minnesota police for arresting and surveilling protesters. So Enbridge picked up the tab for police wages, training, and equipment and let county police know when it wanted demonstrators arrested. So this company, all right, Enbridge, is basically an oil company that is trying to manufacture and build this pipeline that is going to be going from Alberta, Canada, all the way down to the tip of Lake Superior, as they're going to talk about in this article, in Wisconsin. Okay, so this is a pipeline that is going through wetlands, that is going through indigenous lands, and it's going to be carrying incredibly environmentally destructive oil through this entire area, inevitably going to be causing environmental destruction. And so obviously, some of the people in Minnesota have a problem with this, right? Some local organizers, some indigenous organizers, they have a problem with this Line 3 being constructed in their area. And so they have been rightfully protesting this. And in response to those protests, the police have been absolutely brutalizing them. And just to give you a perspective as to how far the police and the Department of Homeland Security have gone to defend this pipeline. So low-flying DHS helicopter showers anti-pipeline protesters with debris, okay? They literally brought a fucking DHS helicopter to Line 3 protesters who had chained themselves to equipment, and they flew it like 20 feet above the ground, kicking up dust to try to suffocate these protesters out from their protest, okay? This is the response that they have to completely justified protests against an incredibly environmentally destructive pipeline that is being built through these wetlands. And so, just to give you a perspective onto some of the details here, because this gets absolutely wild, okay? We have a private company from Canada that is funneling money into these public U.S. police budgets, okay? Police who are supposed to be accountable to the American public, who are solely serving the interests of this foreign private company. It's absolutely wild, but let's get into some of the details here. So the Canadian company Enbridge has reimbursed U.S. police $2.4 million for arresting and surveilling hundreds of demonstrators who oppose the construction of its Line 3 pipeline, according to documents The Guardian obtained through public records requests. And Enbridge has paid for officer training, police surveillance of demonstrators, officer wages, overtime, benefits, meals, hotels, and equipment. And we're going to get into some specific examples because it's absolutely laughably ridiculous the type of shit that they have been paying these police departments for, basically just bribing them to go defend this pipeline. But they continue saying that Enbridge is replacing, just to give you a perspective on exactly the situation that is going on. So Enbridge is replacing the Line 3 pipeline through Minnesota to carry oil from Alberta to the tip of Lake Superior in Wisconsin, and the new pipeline carries a heavy oil called bitumen, doubles the capacity of the original 760,000 barrels per day, and carves a new route through pristine wetlands. And a report by the climate action group MN350 says the expanded pipeline will emit the equivalent greenhouse gases of 50 coal power plants, and that doesn't even take into consideration the inevitable oil spills and leaks that we will be seeing across these pristine wetlands, as they were just talking about there. So incredibly environmentally destructive, and so people obviously have a justified reason to go out and protest this pipeline. And they continue saying that the project was meant to be completed and start functioning on Friday, and police have arrested more than 900 demonstrators opposing Line 3 and its impact on climate and indigenous rights, according to the Pipeline Legal Action Network. And they say that it's common for protesters opposing pipeline construction to face private security hired by companies, right? Private security hired by companies, obviously being different than a publicly funded police force. And they continue saying that, as they did during the demonstrations against the Dakota Access Pipeline, if you guys remember that. But in Minnesota, a financial agreement with a foreign company has given public police forces an incentive to arrest demonstrators. And the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission, which regulates pipelines, decided rural police should not have to pay for increased strain from Line 3 protests. And as a condition of granting Line 3 permits, the commission required Enbridge to set up an escrow account to reimburse police for responding to demonstrations, okay? Bribing the police to go and arrest people at these pipeline protests. And they continue saying that the Enbridge told Guardian that an independent account manager allocates the funds. Oh, okay. And police decide when protesters are breaking the law. But records actually show, that are obtained by The Guardian, show that the company meets daily with the police. Meets daily with the police to outline, essentially to discuss their intelligence gathering and patrols and basically outline exactly what they want the police to be doing. And when Enbridge wants protesters removed, it calls the police and sends letters. So you tell me if that sounds like these police are responsive to the public, or if it sounds like they're responsive to Enbridge, the private company, not from the United States, because it seems pretty clear from my perspective. But they continue with the quote here saying, "Our police are beholden to a foreign company." Tara Houska, the founder of indigenous frontline group Janu Collective, told The Guardian, quote, "They are working hand in hand with oil. They are actively working for a company. Their duty is owed to the state of Minnesota and to the tribal citizens of Minnesota, and it's a very clear violation of public trust." And that's, to say the least. I mean, I can give you some examples of exactly what they've been spending some of this money on. So the evening of the 8th of June, the McLeod County officers dined together at the Fireside Inn in Aitkin County, and Detective Andrew DeMeyer had buffalo chips and a Fiesta salad for $19.15. Deputy Jonathan Robin had a chicken strip basket, fries, and mozzarella sticks for $21.35. Deputy Joshua Fahey had a half chicken with fries for $14.95, and Sergeant Billy Kroll enjoyed a bacon cheeseburger, onion rings, and 2 non-alcoholic beers for $22.45. They billed their meals to the Enbridge account. So Enbridge, a private foreign company, is bribing police officers with cheeseburgers and chicken nuggies. That's the situation that we have right now. This is as ridiculous as U.S. police have allowed themselves to become. Not that they ever were not ridiculous, but this is just even more ridiculous. And just to give you a perspective as to the scale of the money that was involved in this entire effort. So in December of 2020, Cass County Sheriff's Office began, quote, proactive safety patrols of communities along the pipeline route. Wow, it's almost like they were just serving the interests of this private company and they decided to go proactively crack down on some of these protesters. And up to the 6th of August, the Enbridge account reimbursed the sheriff $850,000 for these patrols. So we're not talking about a couple $100 here and there to go out and dine out with your little cop buddies. We're talking about millions of dollars that has been dumped in from a foreign company into public police budgets for them to go fuck around and eat cheeseburgers on the weekend. Are you goddamn kidding me? This is absolutely insane and ridiculous. But again, it shouldn't be surprising if you know anything about the history of U.S. police and how they have existed for the entirety of their history here in the United States, okay? This is their purpose. Their purpose is to protect private capital. Their purpose is to basically stand as a violent barrier between the working class and between the elites in this country. That has historically been the case, okay? As I was saying, they have historically obviously been notorious union busters, even willing to go and inflict violence upon workers who are trying to unionize to extract concessions from the ownership class. So this has been their purpose for a very long time. And this is not, it's surprising to see them do this out in the open like this, but it's not surprising when you understand the dynamic of what police and their function in our society actually is, okay? So if you needed more of an example of why we need to be defunding the police and actually reallocating resources towards effective community-based programs, this is it, right? Because not only are these police not even marginally pretending to represent these communities, but they are literally essentially functioning as mercenaries for hire for a private foreign company that is trying to bring extremely polluting oil into the United States. So it's just a completely ridiculous situation, and it's obviously absolutely unacceptable.